And for writing, original screenplay, Knives Out, Rian Johnson.
Wow, Rian Johnson was just nominated for his first Academy Award.
No.
Yeah.
If you ask me, it was long overdue, but that's besides the point. The nomination is quite significant because this Academy Award nominated writer at one point in time felt like the most hated writer in Hollywood. Oh, redemption! Sweet validation! Knives Out has gotten a resounding nod of approval from fans and critics alike.
Oh, it was great.
So, I want to discuss the idea that the Rian haters were wrong all along. And maybe, just maybe, you should give The Last Jedi another shot with an open mind. But first, hit subscribe and turn on your notifications, so after you hate on me in the comments, you can come back and do it again! Point number one, he's never had a poorly reviewed film. Bloom just kind of barely hung on there. So, other than The Last Jedi, the dude has a 100% positive track record. Full disclosure, I'm a huge fan of Rian's first film, Brick. I have a Brick tattoo, it's a whole thing, so I may be a little biased, sure. That film, plus everything else he's written and directed, is certified fresh. But Jedi failed on the fan side of things. I guess my point is, what are the chances that The Last Jedi is his only bad film? I mean, sure, it's possible. Every great filmmaker has had at least one failed attempt. But given that it seems to have gotten a resounding nod of approval from critics, maybe it's less about the writing of The Last Jedi and more so about the expectations we have as Star Wars fans. Just because it's not the series of events that we wanted doesn't mean it was a bad script. And the main point of criticism following the film's release was the writing.
God.
Eat shit.
People were calling my boy an objectively bad writer, which first of all doesn't really make sense. But that must make an Oscar nomination for your next film like that much sweeter. Point number two, he subverts expectation. Rian has become known for taking a genre, following all of the rules because he loves the genre and wants to pay homage to it, but then turning it on its head. And generally, audiences like it when it's something they're not close to. Agatha Christie and whodunit, Raymond Chandler and film noir, when you subvert these genres, it's fun, because our entire sense of self and every nostalgic memory we have isn't tied up in protecting them. He was also getting Oscar buzz following Looper, a completely original concept that I thought should have been nominated for Best Screenplay. It even prompted Academy Award nominee Jason Reitman to push Looper for the nod, emphasizing how difficult it is to write sci-fi and create a brand new world. This is probably what got Rian the Star Wars gig, his ability to write sci-fi and turn it on its head. However, Star Wars fans don't want Star Wars turned on its head. They're not looking for something entirely new. They're trying to capture a certain nostalgia. And look, that's fair. If it's not what you wanted, that's fine. But that doesn't make it a bad script, and it certainly doesn't make him a bad writer. It's just not your bag. I, for instance, didn't like Solo, like, at all. But did I rush to the internet and bash Ron Howard as a bad filmmaker? Of course not. Apollo 13, dog. And lastly, point number three, kind of the reason that we're here. Maybe it's time to revisit The Last Jedi now that the Skywalker saga is over. This has happened many times in film history. People will hate a film, and then once it's reevaluated years later, they'll start to come around and see what made it special in the first place. Whether it's Blue Velvet or Spinal Tap, or Weezer's Pinkerton. There's a reference for you. Once we get to know the artist, the choices they made in their past body of work start to make sense. It is possible that you didn't like it because of a certain set of expectations you had. And if you walk in with fresh eyes now that the saga has ended, you may be able to see it in a different light. That's all I'm saying. Now you know where the story is going. You know that they didn't ruin anything. It's a sophomore installment. Think of it like a standalone film, with plenty of time to take the story in a different direction, which is exactly what they did. After The Last Jedi's release, the New York Times even said that it should have been nominated for Best Screenplay. Just because it's not for you doesn't mean it's bad. Look, the dude's always been dope. I say that as a fan of 15 years and also just because I mean it. After watching his career trajectory over the years, it's bonkers to see him become an Oscar nominee. If you revisit The Last Jedi and you still don't like it, maybe you can at least admit that it's still a good script, or at the very least, admit that, in general, Rian Johnson is still a good writer. But that's just my opinion, man. Do you agree or what? My assumption is that you don't, but let me know in the comments. While you're down there, be sure to hit subscribe and turn on your notifications. Honestly, if you needed to get like one thing out of this whole video, just go see Brick. If you haven't done that, then like, do it. Before you watch Jedi again, which I recommend, just watch Brick once. That's all I want. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.